Alder's new book, Die Hauptsaison, readers learn about the Kadaran War, when the OnAir warriors of Kadaran rose again to fight invasion. All but forgotten, the OnAir had protected their planet in the past, but were suppressed. Now, with a mysterious new weapon, wielded by a mysterious woman, they defended themselves again. 30 cycles later, Krissa, who is in her 60s, struggles with internal and external foes in a political struggle that keeps her in a state of mental captivity. As she slowly learns about her true self and history, her hidden power and reality come into play as she harnesses her warrior past and begins the fight for freedom again. A thrilling and action-filled novel, Die Hauptsaison is a page-turning adventure.
Super excited. I know that you all are super excited just as well. We take time out on this day at this time to always thank each and every one of you for joining us here on the GMAP Broadcast Network, GMAP TV. And of course, we are always excited when we have our special guest stop by and just kind of hang out with us for a few minutes. Now, we can see him, but he can't see us. So he's probably in La La Land. Stephen, one of our featured authors, is here with us on today. And he is the outstanding author of this fabulous publication. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, you know what? I always hear that, but I'm going to tell you, Steve, thank you for being here. Thank you for accepting the invitation, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of your journey. As you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, we are live with one of our featured authors, Stephen Alder's here, and of course, he is going to tell you a little bit about what he has going on. But before we do that, Steve, why don't you do me a favor? Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Tell us where you're from.
Well, my name is Stephen Alder. I was born in Texas a long time ago. My dad joined the military, and I grew up in different states, United States, including Hawaii. Spent some time in Germany when I was a boy. I wound up living in Honolulu, and then moved to LA in 1976. And after a while, I embarked on a career as a technical writer, and I've been doing that since, up until now.
Well, you know
I'm
what?
still working part-time in that field.
You're not a part-time anything. You are a full-time, and I tell you, I am excited today to have you as a guest here on GMAP, and also have you as one of our featured authors. And for those that don't know, Steve is one of our featured authors on GMAP TV, and of course, you can stop by anytime and click on the tab that is simply titled Featured Authors. You will see a copy of the publication that I'm currently showing you on our television screen. And of course, he is going to tell us a little bit more about that. But when you do that, it will take you to the necessary location to find out more information and more intimate details about the author as well as the publication. Speaking of it, why don't you tell us a little bit about this fresh new publication that you've released for the people?
Okay, let me start by describing what it is. The book is in the science fantasy genre. It is set on 3 inhabited planets in a star system that the reader would immediately know is not our solar system. The inhabitants of these planets do not know their origins. They know they are descended from the original settlers, but they do not know where the settlers came from or how they got there. The story deals with the after effects of war and forced assimilation. I don't necessarily like it being categorized as a fantasy. It's not about orcs and elves. It's not like Narnia. I also don't like being associated with dark fantasy. So the book deals with, someone who's going through a great deal and overcomes a great deal in her personal life. So I was looking for a quote from the book that would summarize the story. And that's kind of difficult, but I think I found something. Here, the main character, Chrissa, is a deeply troubled person. Her roommate, Joe, determines to stay with her and help her, even though Chris is very difficult to live with. So in the section that I'm going to read, Chrissa has hit rock bottom. So from Joe's perspective, I'll read here. It seems to Joe that Chris's condition is extremely serious. And she is continually texting Kadu, that's Chris's psychiatrist, who maintains there's nothing he can do if Chrissa does not come into his office. His only advice to Joe is that she might consider moving to a different apartment. That idea has certainly crossed Joe's mind more than once. However, she is torn. She knows it would be better for her to find a new place to live, but her mother's story about Rindell haunts her. It compels her to stay with Chrissa. As a person who is so good at her core, who has spent her life trying to help others, Chrissa deserves a better fate. Joe cannot abandon her. She knows there must be an answer somewhere. Then we read from Chris's perspective later on. The thought that her singing gave Joe hallucinations has thrown Chrissa into a tailspin. As if living a nightmare, the image of the building she saw in the video of Kadarin fills her mind. But instead of a man's face on the building, it is her face. She's looking out over a crowd of people whose ears are attached to chains emanating from her mouth. These people, though, are not enjoying the experience, as Joe claimed. They're suffering extreme violence and death. Now, a belief that has always intruded her thoughts, but which she has always managed to suppress, overwhelms her. She becomes convinced that there's something terribly wrong with her at her very core that cannot be fixed. And since there's nothing she can do about it, she is not motivated to do anything. She only attempts to drown the pain with Kadarin ale. So here you can see the dynamics between Joe and Chrissa, and also insight into what is troubling Chrissa, as well as the symbology used in the book. So that's kind of a way of introducing the topics.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know what? I want to ask you this, Steve. Is this, in fact, your first publication release, or is this a follow-up to something that you've previously released?
No, this is my first book. I'm working on the second one, which will be a follow-up.
Working on your second one. And that is something that I love to hear, because I'm excited to let the people know that once you do decide to release additional publications and information, we're going to be inviting you back time and time again to make sure you share that information with our viewers and listeners around the world. Again, I can't thank you enough for being here today. Can't thank you for accepting the invitation to be a part of our broadcast family and allowing us to be a part of your journey. Now, I know that there's going to be quite a few people that are tuned in now, or they may grab a hold of the rebroadcast and they're saying to themselves, I wonder how I can get a copy of that current publication from Stephen Alder. Is there a process? What's the process for them to receive a copy of this publication?
Well, they can go to Amazon. It's on Amazon. You can see the title here of the book. So, right, you have the song. It's also on Barnes & Noble. My website is Dehabda World. So you take the name Dehabda, add world, dehabdaworld.com. And I also noticed this on Apple Books.
And of course, we're not going to allow them to forget about little old GMAP Broadcast Network down here in the lower left-hand corner of everything in small print. We don't mind the small print, though. Most of the time, the small print is the most important print on the paper. You can always stop by our platform and click on the publication. Right. It will, of course, take you to the necessary location to show your love, care, concern, and support. Now, you know, Steve, we're always pretty much role models to someone, and and someone that may be paying attention to you right now. Of course, we've heard that you are going to be doing a follow up to this publication, but let me ask you in general, what's next for author Stephen Alder?
Well, getting the book finished, pursuing writing, and enjoying my retirement as best I can.
Well, I I always know that retirement sounds good, but do we ever
Yeah,
retire? I don't know.
I
I
don't think
just don't.
so.
We retire from one thing, but we dive into another. I just want to say that. Now,
That's very true.
for someone who may want to, in fact, reach out to you on a more individual level, on a more individual basis, is there some more contact information that you don't mind sharing with us today?
Yeah, my email is dhobtoworld, like the website, at gmail.com. Anybody can want to do that. I also have a Facebook um, author page and an Instagram account that I'm being current with. Also Twitter. They all involve the the Hob to World as part of the name.
Wow. And of course, for those of you that might have any problems or issues reaching out or connecting, make sure you take advantage of reaching out to us here at GMAP TV. And of course, we'll be glad to connect the dots with you. And of course, we know for a fact that you have our phone number. We want you, Stephen, to use it. Pick up the phone, call, text, chat, tweet, whatever you do. It's kind of strange telling someone who is retired about social media these days, but give us a call, connect with us, let us know what we can do to assist you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And we want you to know that the answer will always be yes, and you will never, ever have to ask us twice. And we appreciate it so much that you are a part of our family. And of course, for those that don't know, of course, this conversation, if you miss it in any way, shape, form, or fashion, we will be placing it on our YouTube channel. We'll be shifting it over to Facebook. It's going to be aired on our weekly cable program that airs every Wednesday night. And we want to make sure that you tune into that, because this is going to do what we wanted to do and give Stephen the exposure and let you know what he's doing, how he's doing it, when he's doing it, where he's doing it, why he's doing it, all that good stuff. And we want you to show your love, care, concern, and support. Share it with your family, your followers, your friends. Purchase a copy of it. As a matter of fact, purchase a few copies and share it and send it with somebody as a gift, if you don't mind. It is the Christmas season,
Right.
And of course, Steve, of course, we want you to know that we will be inviting you back time and time again to find out what you're doing and where you're doing it, and soon to release the new publication. And we want to be able to share that information with people as well. But before we even attempt to let you go, what I want you to do is I want you to just take a look at that camera and just tell people exactly what's on your heart today. I'm going to move over and I'm going to tell you, Stephen Alder, the floor is yours.
Well, I mean, in the story of my book, the people trying to help Krista really didn't know what they were doing, but they kept trying. And one of my favorite characters in the book is Puna. Puna is so imperfect in her attempts to help Krista. She's just always fumbling along. Yet, in spite of her imperfections, she succeeds miraculously. And even though the book doesn't mention God, you can see the hand of God in Chris's miraculous deliverance, I think. And we may not know how to help someone, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. You know what I mean? To Joe, Chris seemed unreachable, but she didn't give up. And you notice in that story that section that I read, that Chrysa saw that she was someone terribly bad at her core that couldn't be fixed, but her roommate Joe saw her as someone who was very good at her core. And so we need that perspective that's outside of ourselves to be able to help us, I think.
Wow. Well, I really appreciate that. I appreciate your kind words, not just to me, but to all of our viewers and listeners from around the world. Again, we will be inviting you back, and we appreciate your time on today. Looking forward to helping disseminate this information to people around the world as much and as often as we can. We have an outstanding book trailer coming up for your viewing pleasure, and we're going to, of course, place that also on all of our television platforms and social sites. We want you to, again, share it, send it to some followers, family, and friends, and be sure to show your love, care, concern, and support for one of our featured authors here on the GMAP Broadcast Network, GMAP1.com, Mr. Stephen Alder. And, of course, we look forward to hearing from you again very, very soon. So if you don't mind, we will be inviting you back. Until next time, we want you to have a fantabulous rest of your day. You be blessed and continue to be a blessing. And I'll be reaching out to you to let you know what's next here via the GMAP Broadcast Network. You have an outstanding day. I'll give you a call a little bit later on, okay?
All right, thank you. Thank you, Kevin.
God
Merry
bless you,
Christmas,
sir.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. I look forward to talking to you again soon, all right?
All right.
All right. One of our featured authors here on the GMAP Broadcast Network, Stephen Alder. Stay close. Don't move. We shall return.
In Stephen Alder's new book, Die Hauptsaison, readers learn about the Kadaran War, when the OnAir warriors of Kadaran rose again to fight invasion. All but forgotten, the OnAir had protected their planet in the past, but were suppressed. Now, with a mysterious new weapon, wielded by a mysterious woman, they defended themselves again. 30 cycles later, Chrysa, who is in her 60s, struggles with internal and external foes in a political struggle that keeps her in a state of mental captivity. As she slowly learns about her true self and history, her hidden power and reality come into play as she harnesses her warrior past and begins the fight for freedom again. A thrilling and action-filled novel, Die Hauptsaison is a page-turning adventure.